What's up, everyone? Today was a sea of green in the stock market. So many stocks just soared to the upside like a rocket ship. In today's video, we're going to go over exactly what is causing this in the market right now and some awesome setups and predictions for tomorrow. I'll tell you, looking at the market today, it really gave me some flashbacks to the good old money printer days of 2020 when just every day was a green day. Like looking at whether it's the NASDAQ or Tesla or Google or some of these crypto stocks today, it was truly explosive. So, Tom, let's get right into today's episode.
Yeah, Mike, the stock market today went insane, and we started breaking to the upside in a huge way. There were some nice JOLTS opening numbers this morning, which is pretty good. You know, it showed that there wasn't as much unemployment as they were expecting. So that's pretty good to see there. Always good to see those job openings come in less. Always good for the economy. But whenever I'm looking at the SPY today, we started breaking out above those key trend lines that we've been talking about lately. And we're not just doing it on SPY. We're actually seeing a lot of stocks break a lot of these key trends, whether you're looking at Tesla or Nvidia or Meta or SPY or QQQ even. We're starting to break out in a huge way today. So in the short term, I'm kind of bullish here to the upside, Mike. We're starting to see some great momentum, and you know, whenever Tesla's up 8%, it's going to be hard for the S&P and the QQQ not to follow along. And whenever you go intraday, just look at that explosiveness with Tesla. They were up 7.6%. Apple was up a lot too, not 8%, but you can see that intraday move was still pretty fire. But Tesla actually had some great news with BYD this morning, which was pretty good. They're kind of piggybacking off of this news from China, where BYD actually, get this, they tripled their profits in the first half of the year, and they had record vehicle delivery numbers in China. And if you guys didn't know, Tesla's biggest factory is in China, and China is their biggest market. So that is actually pretty good news that BYD is doing so well there.
Exactly. So for those of you who don't know, BYD is like a huge electric vehicle company in China. So it's like, you know, when they report these awesome numbers, how can you not think Tesla has a lot to gain from that as well, considering how much exposure Tesla has to China? So that definitely helped fuel Tesla's takeoff today. And I'll tell you, that move intraday was just non-stop to the upside. Tom, looking at Tesla right now, you know, it's kind of in like the middle of its range. It's right around that like $257 level. What would you say like the main levels for Tesla going forward? And what are some things you like about Tesla's chart right now? And what are some things you're a little bit worried about?
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot to like right now in the short term. A lot of bullish activity. I'm liking that trend line break, and we're back above $250, which I thought was going to be a pretty big resistance today, but we just blasted right up through there. And for anybody who doesn't know, previous resistance becomes support. So I will be using that 250 area as some support. 252 is a pretty big one as well. So you can use those as some supports, but as we're rising here over the next couple days, there's going to be some big areas that we're coming up to. The first one being right around 265 to 266. There's been a lot of price action hits there over the past couple weeks, and we were kind of riding that trend right along those numbers there. So I'll be watching that right along this blue line as a resistance, and then as we pop through there, 270 to 272 will be the next areas I'm looking for. And if we do get up to 272 tomorrow, it would be pretty insane. We would have to have a pretty similar move like we did today, but I think that a nice test of like 260 to 265 would be a better target for tomorrow if you're day trading. But Tesla's a wild one, Mike, and whenever it gets good news and hype, it can go up a lot, but I think that we'll only go up for a few more days, and then I think we'll start to kind of trend back down as we start to get back into September, which starts on Friday, of course.
Yeah, all righty. We'll keep a close eye on Tesla over the next couple of days, but Tom, just like Tesla, Bitcoin and the cryptos are seeing some of this great price action as well. Bitcoin soared today, popping by over 6%, and it was even higher at some points during the day. Coinbase was up by 15%, and other stocks like Mara and Riot had amazing days after some great news came out related to the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust and the SEC. So long story short, in a nice and simple way, the SEC was suing Grayscale, which is ticker symbol GBTC, and long story short, Grayscale actually won the lawsuit over the SEC, and because they won this lawsuit, a lot of people are kind of pricing in that it will be so much easier for us to actually see like real Bitcoin ETFs come onto the market. So because this lawsuit was won, there's a good chance we'll actually see ETF approvals for companies like BlackRock and Fidelity and, a bunch of other huge corporations like that, which will just legitimize Bitcoin even more and add a whole lot more capital into that market. The whole crypto industry is really soaring off this news, and the most important stocks to watch are Coinbase, Mara, which is Mara, Riot, which is Riot, and then I would say GBTC, which is Grayscale.
Yeah, Grayscale had a pretty good day in its own right, going up like 16 to 17%. So I love this, Mike. There's going to be a pretty fun, I would say, winter with crypto. And you know what I love about crypto is even if the SPY does whatever it wants, as long as we keep getting good positive crypto news, that could actually be awesome. Like imagine if we actually have a pullback with the SPY. I feel like it would be a great time for crypto to start to go up if money started pouring in there and etc. I'm really curious to see maybe how it'll do over the winter. But when I go to Bitcoin's daily chart, Mike, it's actually been pretty rough the past couple weeks. We've been kind of falling back off after some of those recent rallies. So maybe this will get us back up to that 30K, 32K plus mark again. And who knows, maybe we'll be to 100K soon. Sound off in the comments where you guys think Bitcoin will go. I know some people, Mike, think $1 million. Some people think 500K, 100K. I'm kind of in like the 100K mark over the long term, but I don't know. It's such a total guess with this one.
Some people think 100K, some people think $1 million, some people think 2,000, some people think 500. The predictions are all over the place, but either way, this news is really great for the industry. And the way I look at it is twofold. So the first one being like in more of like a safe way. I think Coinbase is at like a decent level. It's not necessarily at like a perfect level in my opinion. I would, of course, much rather pick up shares at a lower price, like closer to that $40 level, but we're over double that right now, so we're kind of far away. But either way, there is a lot of opportunity to be gained from this, like over long periods of time with solid crypto companies. In my opinion, Coinbase is one of those. But in the short term, there's also a lot to gain and lose, of course, depending on how you trade it, with some of these more speculative crypto companies like Mara, Riot, stuff like that. But either way, keep a very close eye on the crypto industry over the next couple days. The news is moving at quite a bit. But Tom, just like EVs and crypto, there's a lot of hype with AI right now, and Google was definitely a stock to gain from that today. It basically came out and said that they're going to start charging $30 for enterprise AI service, and that's per user. So long story short, Google is getting more into the AI game, and they're definitely trying to capitalize off of I guess you could say this trend, but also the technology overall. Google is a powerhouse by itself, and they have a lot to gain from AI, and this just looks to be, one way that they're just starting out. So the stock moved off of this news in a pretty solid way, and anything with AI lately has been booming.
Yeah, and I'll say they closed up 2.72%, which is still a pretty big day for them. But, if you actually go off of the close yesterday to the high today, it was up over 4% at one point. So that's actually a pretty good move at that high of day there. And just with the way all stocks are starting to move right now, I'm loving this movement with Google. You go out to that daily chart, and it's starting to break a little higher. It's breaking out of that recent range, and it's been stair-stepping up all year here, and it's kind of getting on that nice bullish side where we're starting to create that nice next leg to the upside, kind of like back here at the beginning of May when it started to go on a move and a little breakout, and then back here again at the end of July when it started breaking out there as well. So I'll keep an eye on it for the next few days, especially just because the overall market's doing so well too, like Tesla, Microsoft, Apple. It's like everything's flying up, and I'm loving that movement, and Google's just adding more fuel to the fire, and with extra hype added in, why not trade it?
You know it. And while it's been a pretty awesome day, we can't celebrate just yet. So we can't forget that we're heading into the loved month of September, historically the worst month of the year for the stock market. And I'll tell you this, Tom, the past 3 Septembers have not been too nice, to say it in a simple way. So last September, the market just got smacked right in the face. And then in September of 2021, it was also kind of a beatdown. And then in September of 2020, it was also kind of rough. So normally September is pretty bad overall, but hopefully this trend doesn't continue.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of that trend back from 1999 to 2002, or 1998 to 2002, that like 4-year span where we saw those Septembers be terrible. And I don't know, I'm not saying that, this is going to hold up and this is going to be the 4th year of a bad September, but I am definitely worried. It's like every time you look at a chart of what the worst month is, September has always historically been the worser one out there. So I'm definitely going to be very careful as we head into this Friday and definitely next week, Mike, because it's going to be a pretty scary time out there. And, if people were looking to hedge something against the market like this, like you could get puts on SPY, you could get puts on some of these other companies that might be a little bit overextended, but at the same time, you could also maybe get like some SPXS or SQQQ. Just keep in mind that timing on these is going to be very important. They're 3x leverage. I know a lot of people always talk about these, but I would honestly rather just get a couple puts sometimes on SPY than try to time some of these. If you do time them right, though, then they can be pretty good. But like you can see today, on days where the market goes up, they get destroyed.
No doubt about that. Well, good stuff overall, Tom, but it's about that time to get into the fun stuff, which are some setups for tomorrow. One stock I'm watching very closely is Square, aka Block, and some other names that people call them. But looking at Square, the stock had an amazing day in the market today. Overall, it's been very oversold over the past couple of weeks, and I think the setup with Square is presenting a lot of upside potential. And I'll tell you this, Tom, the bot sure loved Square's price action today. If you guys are into short-term trading, you have to check this out. Today, our bot called out the Square 56 strike call options at $104 each. By the end of the day, these things were worth $211 each. I know a bunch of people banked off of them. If you want to join the Stocked Up crew, you'll get access to the hybrid bot, sniper bot, SM bot, multi-million-dollar hedge fund trades on a daily basis, swing plays, short put plays, and a bunch of other stuff I can't even name in the video. On top of that, Tom and myself spend our lives in this chat. So if you just want to chat with us and bounce some ideas off of us, that's also a possibility. You can cancel it anytime, and it's an awesome program. Definitely check it out. It's going to be that first link in the description and the comments down below. But Tom, Square is my play. What are you watching for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go ahead and be watching Meta. I know we've talked about this one quite a bit. It's starting to come back up. It has some nice support around 280, which I've been loving the past couple days, and we're getting up to a humongous resistance at $300. And if we go over to Bookmap, you can see that resistance right here on the X-ray vision. Actually, at the end of the day, I was seeing like a stack of 134,000 shares at $300. That is a pretty big stack, so I will be watching that as a big resistance. If we break it tomorrow, then I'll trade it to the upside. If we see a nice rejection and we see the market going down, then I might trade it to the downside off of that. But $300 will be pretty big. It's one of the big psychological even levels out there. And with Meta, it's definitely hit there. Like, look at that hit last week on 300. It tanked off of that. So definitely keep your eye there.
There we go. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is NIO, N-I-O, and this stock reported earnings today, and initially they tanked off in a major way, but they came back in a very strong way. I love to see it. Today's NIO price action reminded me of that episode of South Park where Randy is fighting the guy in the baseball stadium, and he's like, I didn't hear no bell. Because NIO tanked down. It was really struggling to begin with, but it just it kept fighting, and it basically closed that break even. So that was awesome to see. Looking at NIO right now, honestly, Tom, it looks like a very similar setup as to what Zoom had after its earnings report. So Zoom basically basically tanked down on earnings, started inching back up that next day, and then, ended up showing some extra upside potential. So I do like the setup on NEO to the upside over the next couple days.
Yeah, it's looking pretty wild. That move back to the upside was pretty insane there. And I'll tell you what, it definitely didn't hear no bell today because it just kept going back up. And it seems like Tesla, I would say like Tesla, Lucid, Rivian, I mean, every single EV stock was up. Even like LI, XPEV, every other EV stock from China was pretty much doing well too. Look at even XPEV. They kind of tanked down with NEO and actually ended up like 3.68% to the upside. So I love it, Mike. NEO, they have a lot of momentum back, so keep your eyes on them. Coinbase is one of my plays for tomorrow, Mike. I had to call it out. There's a pretty good intraday double top here going on right around 86.25, 86.20, somewhere very close to there. If you see a nice break above there, look at calls tomorrow. It was up 14.9, almost 15% today. They had that amazing news, obviously, with the Bitcoin ETF and Grayscale. So I'll be watching Coinbase like a hawk the next couple days, especially with these percentages. Some of these call options, just I couldn't believe the percentages I was looking at today.
Yeah, it was really insane, to say the least. But great stuff there, Tom. But let's jump right into today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have Rivian to the upside.
Yeah, nice EV stock capitalizing off some of that movement here. Go ahead and make them break above $22.50 tomorrow. That's a little bit above the high of day today.
All right, with the next one, we have Penn also to the upside.
Penn Gaming, gosh, I'm hoping they keep going here. If they break above 24.15 intraday resistance, then look at some calls.
And then with the last one, we have Apple for both directions.
Apple, yeah, they had a nice close here as well. If they break out above 185, look at calls to the upside. That's going to be a nice level to break above. Now, if they end up falling down under 183 intraday, then go ahead and look at some puts. It's a little bit, iffy with Apple, I will say. Definitely look at both directions here. That was a huge pop today.
Alrighty, so we have that downside level for Apple. If it breaks below that, we're watching it for puts. We have the upside level as well. If it rips above that, we're watching it for calls. And then don't forget about Penn and Rivian, also for potential upside plays tomorrow, only if they break above those resistances. But it is now time for the big money $810,000 trade of the day, and we are looking at Zoom, ticker symbol ZM. Someone dumped 810 grand into the Zoom 70 strike call options that expire on January 17th of 2025. Basically, this is a trade betting that Zoom will go up. This trade can take some time, so definitely be prepared for that. I love the risk reward setup. Like I said, it has some time to it, right? It expires on January 17th of 2025, 810 grand. It's at historic lows, and in my opinion, as long as you're willing to give this one some time, I think it could play out pretty well.
I do too, actually, Mike, and I don't usually like setups like this too much, especially just because of how much Zoom has gotten hit the past couple of years, right? I mean, they've gotten hit real hard. They haven't really been recovering up too much, but this lower support down here around like $63 to $65 is huge, and you can see how look at these wicks here that extend right down to that like 63.80, 63.60 support. That is a huge level. So I'll be watching Zoom. I've been watching this trend line to the downside over the past few months, and with the way it's bouncing off support and we're getting to the end of this channel, I think that once we start, maybe even here this week, if we start to pop out above here, we could get a huge uptrend, maybe to 80, 85, 90, hopefully $100 starting to fill that gap. But I would think like 80 to 85 more realistically over the next couple months. But I love this play, Mike. It's a big money play. It has a nice setup on the technicals as well. So, and man, that risk reward ratio right now for the long term is insane. Like you could buy shares of this at $68 to $70, throw some stops around 60 even, and still target it like 90 to 100 over the long term. That's pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah. So overall, the market has been very interesting lately. And I'll say just for today, it was one of my favorite days that we've seen in a while. I know a lot of people's long-term portfolios did great. And I also know a lot of the shorter-term trades did very great as well, as so many of these, tech stocks just soared to the upside. So, guys, let's keep this momentum rolling. Let us know how you did in the comments down below. And even if you missed out on the action, that's okay. Even if today wasn't your day, that's okay. Keep your head up high, learn from the mistakes that you made. And, tomorrow is a new day. Let's capitalize off of this market momentum. But, Tom, while the earnings this week isn't all that, what else do we have to know about before closing out?
Yeah, so we do still have CrowdStrike and Salesforce reporting tomorrow with Chewy, so it's still a pretty big 3 stocks tomorrow night and after hours. Then on Thursday, we have Broadcom and Lululemon. So in reality, after CrowdStrike and Salesforce, there's really nothing much left, but it's going to be an okay week. I'm happy with it, Mike, because maybe that'll just mean we can just worry about SPY, Coinbase, and not have to really worry about earnings impacting it too much, which would be great if we have nice continuations like this.
Big time. And then, one other thing I want to talk about is our member of the day today, which is Lucky in the StockedUp Discord channel. He had an awesome post in the Profits channel today where he banked off of some Apple call options. He made like 260%. So huge shout out to you. Keep up that awesome work. We love to see it. And like I said earlier in the video, if you guys want to get in on some of these bot plays and the short-term action that we've been capitalizing on overall, check out that first link in the description in the comments down below. You won't regret it. And besides that, guys, let's keep this momentum rolling and let's have an awesome week.